you've asked if some extra chairs could be brought in. So we are ready now for our students. So please welcome the class of 2018. Northwell School of Graduate Nursing and Physician Assistant Studies. I'm also the Senior Vice President and Chief Learning Officer for Northwell Health. So, Stuart Rabinowitz, Michael Dowling, Mark Laster, trustees, Dr. Gail Simmons, Mark Salazzo, Dr. Lauren Smith, Maureen White, distinguished faculty, colleagues, families, friends, and most of all, the class of 2018. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the first Graduate Nursing Convocation. Thanking Stuart Rabinowitz, the president of Hofstra University, and the CEO and president of Northwell Health, Michael Dowling, for their vision and ongoing support for our new school. I would also like to thank Dr. Smith for his mentorship and support. And I want to thank Maureen White, our chief nurse executive at Northwell Health, for her commitment and support to the graduate nursing program. On behalf of the faculty and the students, I want to sincerely thank the Hagedorn Foundation, the Donald and Barbara Zucker, the Faye J. Lindner Foundation, and the family and friends of Meg Smith for their generosity and support of our students. As a new school, we are very fortunate to have such dedicated benefactors. And Mrs. Smith, Susan Midner and Patricia Coffey, thank you so much for being with us today. So I would like to ask Stuart Rabinowitz, the president of Hofstra University, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. I have 4 commencement-related events today, and then I have 3 commencements on Sunday, law school on Monday, the Jewish commencement, and the softball team commencement on Tuesday. But this one is different. First of all, they don't sit me up front, and they don't let me wear a robe, and they don't give me a white coat. So I don't. That says something about CEO, Michael, in terms of the way they view us. Anyway, good morning, and I'm delighted to be here. It's actually a great privilege to be here. And the truth is that this ceremony is both a challenge and an opportunity for me. The challenge is that you're going to hear from me again in about 48 hours at commencement, at the Sunday commencement. And But it is smart to wear your robes twice. I mean, I think that's very clever. But I'm going to give a speech that's been time tested. It's the same speech I've given for umpteen years, and it's polished. So I can't give you that speech twice. I just can't. I mean, I had Mark in class. I don't think I had him for constitutional law, but you know, I would have taught him about cruel and unusual punishment if he was in that class. So I can't give you the same speech twice. So I won't repeat anything today that I hope that I'm going to say on Sunday. But it is a tremendous honor to be here and participate in this ceremony and to celebrate you, our very first class of nurse practitioners, our pioneers in a new program in a new school, and it's an honor. We are here today primarily for three reasons, to tribute to three reasons. One, we are fortunate to have a wonderful partnership between Hofstra University and the Northwell Health System, represented here by Michael Dowling, whose bro you will hear in a minute. Our relationship is unique. It is a relationship that is not easy. Relationships between two large institutions are never easy. But each of us, both the university and the health system, has recognized that in the complex world of healthcare and medicine, partnerships like ours allow us to be cutting edge, innovative, creative, and ultimately to deliver an education that is both humanistic and holistic in approach. The Hofstra Northwell School of Graduate Nursing and Physician Assistant Studies is this, as you know, is the second partnership that brings together one of the nation's best and finest healthcare systems and all of their resources, and one of the nation's finest institutions of higher education. Together, we are preparing healthcare leaders uniquely ready for the demands and challenges of the 21st century. So that's the first reason. The second reason we're all here, and let's be honest about this is not a small matter, is we have an incredible founding dean, Kathy Gallo. Her determination and dedication to succeed is incredibly fierce and unwavering, as is her commitment to the field of nursing in general. Her personal devotion to the nurses who work in the Northwell system and her drive to improve the status and the recognition and the professionalism of nurses is unmatched. Indeed, she is among the most determined, energetic, and effective administrators I know. And she is, you know, we are so grateful at the university to have a founding dean like Larry Smith for the medical school and a founding dean like Kathy Gallo for our graduate nursing school. Now, Kathy, all you have to do to completely follow in Dean Smith's footsteps is to immediately commission your own portrait and have it hung in the most prominent place in the building. In an event filled with pomp and circumstance. So if you do that, you'll be Larry's twin. But all of us should give a round of applause to Kathy Gallo. And the third reason we are here, and actually by far the most important, is to celebrate you, our first class of graduating nurse practitioners. We know that you have sacrificed to reach this day. You've balanced your professional obligations and your personal lives with classes, late hours of study, and hundreds of hours of advanced practice clinical care. You might have thought when this first started, because the brochure said so, that this was a part-time program. That'll teach you not to believe everything you see in the brochure. But you soon learned otherwise, and your commitment was all in. It had to be for you to arrive at this day. As Dean Gallo tells prospective students, there are easier programs out there. There are. But you took the more challenging one, the more rigorous road. And when you take your boards in the next few months, we are completely confident that you will be prepared as possible and ready to take your place as a clinician and as a leader. Nurse practitioners are absolutely essential to the delivery of effective and efficient healthcare. Medicine can no longer rely only on individuals, or as we call them in the trade, fighter pilots. It requires a team of dedicated, intelligent healthcare professionals. And the linchpin of that team is a nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioners who provide holistic and humanistic care, who blend clinical expertise in diagnosing and treating health conditions with an emphasis on disease prevention and health management. You will go out into your profession and be leaders and mentors and advisors as well as clinicians. I understand more than half of you have already found new roles and positions in ICUs, surgical specialties, new heart and liver transplant units. So you have already proven that you are hardworking, smart, and courageous. And because of you actually, and your feedback about our program, the program, I am told, is better now than it was when you started. So as you walk across the stage on Sunday, in front of thousands of other graduates and their families, first of all, I'll be resplendent in a robe with a special presidential medal. But, and you'll notice I look different, but I will be thrilled and honored to congratulate each one of you personally and to shake your hands. For now, I just thank you for allowing me to participate in the convocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart Finwitz, for all those lovely, lovely comments. And now I'd like to bring up Michael Dowling to say a couple words.
Now, when you walk across the stage on Sunday and you see this individual dressed in this beautiful gownery, and you see this person and you say, it looks like Henry VIII, that's going to be Stuart Finwitz. This is a very, very special occasion, and I want to say a special, special thanks to each of you who are graduating. This is a milestone for you. This is something that I know for each of you is very, very special. And it's especially special because you've worked at the same time that you've done this. You've taken care of your families at the same time that you've done this. I saw many of you walking in with kids. So many people complain about how difficult their jobs are. But you've done your job. You've gone to school, finished your studies, taken care of family, had children, and have done them all well. So for that, you deserve a special gratitude and a special, special thanks. This is also a very, very special day for families, because all around you are brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts and children, and who are very, very proud of you today. Also proud of themselves in the role that they have played in getting you to where you are today. Because everybody in this room played a role in this. And I know you understand this, but it's important as you go on, whatever you do next, and I'll have some comments on that in a second or two, that you keep in mind all of those around you here that helped you get there. Another point I just want to mention is that nursing is special. And I don't think that we often understand that to the extent that we should. Nursing and nurses are the core of healthcare delivery. They're the essence of what goes on in every facility, working in partnership, obviously, with physicians. But when you spend time in a facility, the people you are most in contact with, the people who you most depend upon on an ongoing, continuous basis, are nurses. And nursing has a phenomenal tradition. Way well before it was ever called nursing. When you think of all of what was done in the delivery of care during ancient Rome, ancient Greece, the Renaissance period, the Middle Ages, beginning of this country, the War of Independence, the Civil War, the war since, who provided the bulk of the care on site in each of those local places were nurses. The history is extraordinary. So it's important as you sit here to reflect on that history. You're a continuation of that history. And you stand on the shoulders of extraordinary people. You stand on the shoulders of people like Elizabeth Fry, Edith Cavall, Clara Barton, known and designated as the angel of the battlefield and a friend of Lincoln. You stand on the shoulders of people like Dorothy Dix and Lillian Wall and Mary Breckinridge. Extraordinary people. And any healthcare that we deliver today, and the humane aspect of healthcare we deliver today, was built upon the work of all of those. They made a difference. They broke new ground. So as you sit here reflecting, as I know you do, it's important to ask yourself the question and understand that now with this advanced degree, you have an increasing obligation and an increasing responsibility. Your task has just been raised. You're different now than you were yesterday. You're different now than you were a number of years ago. People look upon you differently. They expect more. So now you've got to ask yourself the question, what new ground are you going to break? In care delivery, in research, in education. What rules are you going to change? What are you going to do to influence and mentor those around you? To make them increasingly like you? To share their knowledge, your knowledge, with them? What are you going to do to encourage new entrants into the workforce? New nurses, or people who wish to become new nurses. Some of the kids in this room will look at you and say, someday I want to be like you. You have an obligation to do that. And as we continue to deliver care, you have a continuing obligation, as I've said many times before, to make sure that in the midst of all the technology that we currently deal with, and will increasingly deal with, that you never ever forget the human aspect of healthcare, the dignity of every person. That at the end of the day, it's a human endeavor. It's a person-to-person endeavor that can't ever be substituted by technology. Oh yes, that can be helpful, that can be useful, but it can't be a substitute for. And lastly, just remember that life is a contest and a choice between good and bad, stability and risk, hope and fear, change and the status quo, standing still or moving forward. And I know you, and I know the work you do, and I know the choices you're going to make. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much.
It is now my honor to introduce to you Dr. Ann Thomas. Dr. Thomas is currently the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at Michigan State College of Nursing and is well known for her academic leadership roles and curricular work, particularly in nurse practitioner programs. Her academic leadership and nurse practitioner career trajectory spans over 31 years. She has held administrative positions at the University of Texas Arlington, Indiana State University, the University of Michigan, the University of Indianapolis, and Michigan State University, and in the intramural programs at the National Institute of Nursing Research and the National Cancer Institute. Dr. Thomas is active in numerous national nursing organizations and is currently the past president for the National Organization of Nurse Practitioner Faculties, where she served 4 terms on the board of directors. Her influential work in creating nurse-managed centers, leading national competency development for nurse practitioner education, and documenting nurse practitioner clinical outcomes was recognized with inductions as a fellow into the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. Please welcome Dr. Ann Thomas.
Thank you, Dean Gallo, President Rabinowitz, President Downing, Provost Simmons, distinguished leadership, graduates, faculty, staff, family, and friends. I am truly humbled and honored to be here today to be a part of your convocation in the inaugural class of nurse practitioners. Why is this a momentous occasion? You just heard from 2 of your distinguished leaders about the visionary academic partnership between Hofstra University and Northwell Health. This transformational model of education created through the partnership promotes an interprofessional learning model with the goal of advanced practice registered nurses in the nurse practitioner role. You are exemplary clinicians who provide scientifically based, high quality, patient-centered care in a very complex and evolving healthcare environment. The knowledge and clinical skills you learn throughout your program of study provides a strong foundation to deliver diverse care in communities. And congratulations, as you've already heard, is due to everybody in this room, your family and friends, and loved ones. And so on behalf of the faculty and students, I want to thank you for your steadfast patience, belief in your graduates' goals, the support you provided, and the sacrifices you made to help allow their dreams to be fulfilled. The responsibilities and knowledge they carry as nurse practitioners are profound, and the educational pathway to obtain this degree has been quite rigorous. We know that walking that path alongside your graduate, this journey was done with you, and your efforts are deeply appreciated. The faculty, all of the white coats around this room, congratulations for developing and implementing a curriculum and an educational model that finally honed and merged very high-level critical thinking skills with praxis and compassionate healthcare. Your wisdom and mentorship is launching a new generation of nurse practitioners that will take our profession to the next level. They have been taught in an uncommon model, an uncommon partnership model in population health and interprofessional care. I know that each of you is filled with pride today, and if you're like me, this day represents a pinnacle in the academic year as you launch the next generation. I have to tell you, I was very daunted thinking about what I should talk to you about today. It's an inaugural class. I had a very small part in some of the work that you did in the curriculum. So I stepped back and I asked my colleagues, what should I talk to you about? Because you're going to be joining 294,000 nurse practitioners in the U.S. to provide care in one of the most complex and evolving healthcare systems in the United States. So here's what they told me. To be inspirational, I should talk about being fearless, being bold. You're going to change the world, move mountains with hope, kindness and compassion and vision. Believe in yourself. break the boundaries, embrace the journey, do not afraid to fail. Then they went on to say, make sure they know about all the opportunities ahead, how they will represent and form the future, discuss the healthcare environment, how their education prepared them to be leaders and visionaries, how they will advocate and create policies that allow nurse practitioners to work at their full scope of practice, and what it means to be a lifelong learner. Talk about the role they do in patients' lives. Be sure to discuss precision medicine and population health, cutting-edge healthcare technology. Oh my gosh, the list goes on. And then I've got 4 kids, and they're kind of close together. So I haven't stopped going to graduation for 4 years, right? And now they're in graduate school. So I just attended my son's graduation from his master's program. I said, Eric, what is it that you think I should say? He said, Mom, keep it short and sweet. They want to get out of there and celebrate. You know, when you want to know what to say, you go to your kids, right? But what I discovered very quickly is that everything I just mentioned, you already know. And why is that? Because you all are already a nurse. And you made the personal commitment to yourself and the profession to go back to graduate school, to expand your scope of practice and your sphere of influence. You are a nurse practitioner. You have learned a lot about precision medicine and population health and social determinants, the changing healthcare environment, and being leaders. On a daily basis, you've already changed lives. And because of what you do, your life has changed. You constantly now push the boundaries as you advocate for your patients to access and obtain the best care possible for their healthcare concerns. You have asked the hard questions, persisted in the face of adversity, and you never gave up because you knew your patients, families, and communities had voices that weren't being heard, and so you advocated for them. The most trusted profession for at least 15 years in a row, kindness, compassion, and duty are in your DNA. No one has to explain these things to you. You're at the front of the line when you're holding a patient's hand when they're dying so that they're not walking that journey alone. You listen to the concerns of a young mother, making sure she's the best parent possible. And you take care of people from a diverse blend of beliefs, racial and social systems other than your own. And you volunteer to go to other nations unknowingly when natural disasters occur. Because see, you are already an inspiration and a role model for health and a trailblazer. So now let's talk about what it's like to live with you. For those that love you, many of you in the audience today, these attributes that I just discussed manifest themselves in some ways that can be challenging to live with. They will tell you that living with a nurse means that you talk about circumstances and events that will quickly clear a dinner table and make people get nauseous. That you can be bossy and assertive, bordering on aggressive. You can be a bit obsessive, too organized and structured. You are highly critical of all the medical TV shows to the point you can't watch them anymore. And then you can be like Mama or Papa's bear cubs, and everybody is your pup, right? Bottom line is you're trying to protect the whole world from getting sick. You have strange parameters for what it means to be ill and when care should be taught. My 4 children will tell you that I had a funny set of first aid rules when we were growing up, partly because their dad didn't do blood at all. So things like spurting blood is never good and deserves to be stopped. However, oozing or dripping, usually okay unless you see bone. Unconsciousness is never good. Wondering what diseases can be contracted with unprotected sex. That was the fun one. I have books. I have so many books. And I had so many adolescents coming to my house from other neighborhood children's parents as they were growing up because they didn't want to touch those subjects, but those pictures made an impression. My first aid lesson came to fruition. I'll never forget this 8 years ago. My husband's mom and dad bought all of our family and the extended family a cruise because they were getting up in age and they wanted to get everybody together. Anyway, my 2 daughters and I were in line trying to get cruise tickets, and this was for an excursion on the island. This was twice that we've done this, 45 minutes. They're 8, 9 years old, very impatient. The phone rings. I hear my son say things like, Mom, you need to get back to the room. Dad's bleeding. He said to call you. I put it on speakerphone because it's really loud. We're in a cruise ship. And I said, what's wrong, honey? Put Dad on the phone. And he says, can't do that. He's in the bathroom. He's run out of towels. He needs to have you up here. There's blood all over the place. So I'm thinking to myself, again, here's the nurse in me, right? Really? He's in a room. He's got 2 teenage sons with him. A room can't assault you. There really can't be that much blood, right? I'm walking this through my head. The phone is still on speaker, and I hear this. And I said, "Where's your brother?" And nothing in the background. So then my daughter standing next to me, I'll never forget this. She said, and she's like, the speakerphone's on. "Eric, if it's not spurting, then we're not coming back. This is the third time." I'm going, okay, I guess it made an impression. Okay. So bottom line is, the funny thing was, he had put his head up against the ventilated shelving in one of the closets. Oh, beautiful gash. It was the cleanest wound ever had to suture up. Anyway, while he was getting sutured up by a person that spoke no English and didn't really numb him up, because I was watching it and started laughing, I got to take a little tour of the cruise ship and the OR. It was quite fun. Okay. So does this situation resonate you with anybody in the audience? Because I know you've got your nurse stories too. So my point in sharing these stories is with you today, what is that all about? I am told to be inspirational, but the truth is, you inspire me. You are proving that nurses push the boundaries and that you are the trailblazers in graduating as the inaugural class of NPs from a program that is the model for higher education in this country for practice partnerships. Be proud of that, enjoy it, and disseminate that work. You went back to school for an advanced degree because you knew that nurse practitioners are high-quality healthcare providers and that they play a significant role in leading our nation's healthcare problems and becoming solutions. You did this while balancing work, family, other personal commitments, and I'm told 6 of you actually had children during all of this. What were you thinking? Wow, okay. So I want to take a couple minutes, because I only have 15 minutes, to share a couple things that I hope you can remember on this special day. The first message is that, as you just heard from the President, relationships and carefully chosen words are at the heart of successful healthcare. So then you're saying, oh my gosh, what is she saying? Did we just not spend the last how many years learning about the significant personal investment in pearls, in simulation labs, in all of the things that you had to learn to make the correct diagnostic decisions? Does it really come down to communication? Well, let's think about that. Healthcare technology is advancing at lightning speed. Organ transplants take place through small holes with laparoscopics and minimally invasive equipment. We have little computer chips that we can put in people's bodies to monitor their functions. Patients can sit in a specially developed chair in Alaska and be seen by a provider in Maine with healthcare outcomes that are as good as a face-to-face interaction, sometimes better. This is a far different world from when I first became a nurse, and my patients that got cataract surgery done laid in bed, flat on their back for 7 days with sandbags by their heads. Think about that. Nowadays, they're in and out and back home within the afternoon. A gallbladder surgery meant a 10-day stay. Now it's 4 hours with 3 little holes in your abdomen. Population health, precision medicine, new frontiers in our healthcare repertoire. Most recently, if you watch the news, you probably haven't, you were getting ready to graduate. 3 unlikely business partners announced that they were going to be disruptive innovators to create a new healthcare system. Why? Because despite all of the expensive advancements, the new healthcare technologies, the new models, the United States is still very far down the global list of healthcare quality despite the amount of money we spend. In other words, the more we spend, the less we're getting, and the outcomes are not as good. I was recently listening at a conference to a health futurist, and it was quite impressive. For an hour and a half, he gave example upon example and spoke how the U.S. healthcare system, we have now artificial intelligence. We can map out algorithms and guidelines to get from point A to point B to be highly accurate with diagnostics and the therapeutic treatment plan to take care of people and the therapeutic treatment program to take care of people. And we've got the technology to fix it. But why is it still that our outcomes are so low? Because the sustained, healthy behavioral change that keeps us from needing all of us in the room that are clinicians, particularly those with chronic disease management, it doesn't come in an injection, in a transplant, in an antibiotic. It comes because we have long-term healthy behavioral changes that occur by personal belief systems that optimize self-care management, and that's driven by patients, families, and communities. We have a great deal of data that tells us that behavioral changes, when we transport communities to healthy changes, results in long-term optimal health care. What does this mean for all of you, the nurses that are now nurse practitioners in the room? Relationships and words matter. They are no substitute for technology. These are the keys for optimizing healthcare, and we as a nation need to capitalize on this. The future is spoke at length, and you as nurses know intuitively that this is the heart of what you do as a nurse. This is the core of you, who you are, and it is the nursing paradigm. We understand the patient's value system and how that relates to health goals, then facilitate those goals to create personal successes that are meaningful to your patient's life choices. We must tap into their strengths, and we promote them to create and sustain all those healthy changes. Those are key, and we need to do it more. We tune in, we understand, we empower, we coach, we facilitate, and it's based on the patient terms, not ours. You are a nurse practitioner, and the very core of your work lies in that therapeutic relationship that you build and have the privilege for caring for. Do you remember your classes on motivational interviewing? Do you remember what stop doing the writing reflex? In other words, when patients want to do something, you're going, what are they thinking? And you tell them what they should think, and you have learned not to do that. And why is that? Because healthcare is successful and behavioral changes occur when the patient themselves comes up with their own goals, not what we dictate to them. And you've had a lot of practice in doing that. Patients meet benchmarks that they set for themselves. They don't make benchmarks that we artificially set for them and then don't ask them how they're going to get there. How many times have you heard as a nurse, thank you so much for explaining that. Thank you for interpreting that. Oh, I get it now. After you watch 3 or 4 different people explain what it is that they needed to do. You took the time to understand what was important for them. We all have those stories. I can still remember the older woman, I'll never forget her. 92 years old, came in my office, full-blown congestive heart failure, needing to be in the hospital. And she just looked at me and she said, Ann, my doggone feet are swollen. I gotta get to my great-granddaughter's baptism tomorrow. She's wearing my baptism dress. I can't get on these shoes. I'm gonna have to wear my husband's shoes. That is not acceptable. And you know what? I needed to hospitalize her, but that isn't what was gonna happen, was it? So her goal was to see her great-grandchild be baptized, and we took care of that, and then she came back a couple weeks later and we did the rest of it. Okay? So I want you to remember something as you're getting started. Because as new graduates, what you're going to focus on is making sure you did the right thing, that the diagnosis was right, that you prescribed the right stuff, that you consulted when you were supposed to, that the referrals were correct. You tend to stay focused on those technical aspects of the role, and that's okay, because you have to sleep at night. You got to make sure that you did it well. But as the year goes on, and it'll take a year and sometimes more, you'll be able to hear the stories different. You'll be able to focus on the words and not so much what you're seeing. It's all about hearing the voices in a different way. You went from being an expert nurse now to a very confident but novice nurse practitioner. It's awkward, isn't it? It's really scary when you think about it. But after a while, you will get there. Moments of silence will no longer feel awkward during the visit, but will be welcome. One must be silent in order to hear and understand. Funny thing about silent and listen, those words, they both contain the exact same letters. Silent and listen contains the exact same letters. Think about that. Embrace the silence, listen more, seek higher understanding and acceptance, and the tenacity to believe in incremental and sustainable change on your patient's part. It's truly amazing how powerful actions can cost nothing at all and take very little technology. Authentic relationships and sincere words that convey your understanding from a compassionate nurse practitioner are truly the key to transformative healthcare in your patient lives. The next message, and I'll make this brief, the second one that I want to share with you is to become a reflective clinician. As nurses, I know that each of you holds memories of certain patients and certain circumstances of care that will live with you forever. Likewise, many of you have been patients, and you have encountered clinicians that care for you and your families that made an incredible difference in your life. Eyes that look are really common, but eyes that truly see are quite rare. In the words of C.S. Lewis, my eyes are not enough for me. I will see and understand through those of others. This is embedded into the privilege of you being a nurse practitioner. We have to strive to understand that there are people that are very different from who we are. We take care of them, and we vow to do it in a way that is the very best that we have to offer. Always. We will treat and regard our patients if they are our own family. Anything less is simply unacceptable from an ethical, moral, and social code of being a nurse practitioner. We see and are invited in the most private aspects of our patients' lives. It's a privilege, a true privilege, that few other health professions are able to enjoy. Each experience leaves an imprint on who you are and what you develop as a clinician and as a human being. I suspect that many of you have family and friends that will tell you that you've changed throughout your years of school, that you've changed as nurses, that you've changed as humans. Each day contains moments of self-discovery, growth, and an unveiling of yourself that is forever changing. Your personal beliefs, rules, stereotypes, and normative behaviors that you once took for granted will be questioned constantly if you're truly honest with yourself. When you leave your practice at the end of the day and you can't get something out of your head, step back and ask yourself why. Self-reflection helps you understand the impact that you have on your patients. I have vivid memories of the first time that I had to deliver and share news that was going to be very, very difficult for a patient. It caused her to learn that she had cancer and not be able to bear children. So what did I do? 6 months out of my nurse practitioner role, and I'm in an outpatient clinic in Dallas, thinking, talking to my physician colleague, and he said, go pull out Robert Buckman's book. So I did, Sharing Bad News. You probably have used it. I wrote out what I was going to say. Then I can't tell you how many times in the mirror, I rehearsed what I needed to say in that mirror to get the distressed look out of my face that I knew I was going to be feeling as I was speaking to her. To this day, she still gives me a card every Christmas. That was the time that I knew that I have gone from a nurse to a nurse practitioner and the awesome and incredible and profound responsibilities you have as a healthcare provider. I think back on times where I spent 3 months in Hidalgo County in Texas during my immersion experience in my nurse practitioner program. So a picture of this. 3 of us went down there and rented a room in a farmhouse. Well, there's 3 of us, 1 bed, not good. So that we slept in the barn. Yes, we did. And I'm not lying, this really. And so we traded out every day being in the bunk with Bessie the cow, true name, and those disgusting licks on my face to wake me up in the morning, accompanied by the methane-induced stuff coming out the other end. An incredible time. We were in migrant camps for the migrant workers on the stream that were basically harvesting vegetables. And it was then that I was transformed and knew that taking care of disadvantaged and underserved populations was what was in my DNA and that I needed to do. And I also think about the educators that I encountered when I was going through school and how much they inspired me and how I just continued straight through my educational path because I wanted to be like them, to be an active clinician as well as a nurse practitioner academic. And I'm happy to say I think that was a pretty good choice along the way. So write down your reflections, watch your growth, celebrate your successes, and then pay it forward. So just briefly, I'll end with a few musings. I had to open up my little reflections journal from when I graduated. So I think a lot of what I'm going to say will resonate with what you might be thinking, and maybe your family members too, except I didn't put in there the stuff that my husband added later on. So the musings of 34 years ago. Next step, certification exam. Oh hell, am I ready? Do I know enough? Really? Is this all done? They're talking about a PhD? Are they nuts? Listen more, talk less, and seek understanding before speaking. Coach and facilitate. Celebrate small successes. Watch the patient learn about themselves in ways that they never thought were possible. Remember, you work for them and with them. Be a leader and an innovator and a role model for health. Embed decision-making in both the science and art of nursing. Always celebrate and hold true to the nurse in nurse practitioner. Patient-centric care means teamwork and shared accountability. Help others learn that it takes a village and that everyone has a role in leading a team at some point in time. The nurse practitioner that takes time to care for themselves means the clinician that is better suited to taking care of a patient. I'm going to say that one again, because 6 of you had kids. The nurse practitioner that takes care of themselves, means that the clinician can take better care of the patient. Embrace discovery, intellectual curiosity, and diversity in the most broadest sense of the word. It's one big world, and we all need to be able to call it home. Find gratitude, joy, and laughter in your work on a daily basis. Being an NP is a noble calling to be embraced and celebrated. So class of 2018, you are the trailblazers. And your convocation today lights this torch to become the benchmarks for all that follow you from these halls. Go confidently in the knowledge that you have learned from the best, and you have been educated in an unusual and progressive and stellar model, and you are ready to enter the next phase of your nursing career. Yes, be bold and fearless, but I don't need to tell you that, because that's who you are already. You are joining a national family of nurse practitioners that will transform and solve some of our healthcare system problems. Forge therapeutic relationships with your patients and families that facilitate healthy lifestyles. Choose your words carefully, and may kindness and compassion be central to the care that you provide. In the words of Mark Twain, kindness is the language that the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Good advice for all of us. So next, the inaugural class was given the opportunity to vote on a member of that class to represent them for a student address. So the class nominated Andrew Wang. So Andrew, would you come up?
Good morning, esteemed guests comprised of family, friends, and supporters of the Hofstra Northwell School of Graduate Nursing's inaugural class. My name is Andrew Wang, and it is my distinct privilege and humble honor to be able to welcome you today on what is a monumental occasion for my colleagues, as well as those who have joined us on this incredible journey over the last 3 years. The last 3 years have been a culmination of didactic and clinical training that has enhanced our ability to critically think and provide high-level care as clinicians. True to our pedagogy, I'd like to start off today with a trigger. So for those who don't know what a trigger will help us start a conversation to develop clinical, critical thinking skills through abstract thought related to the topic at hand. So my question to you is, what lessons does this ultrasound trigger about our experience as nurse practitioner students, as well as our future roles as nurse practitioners? We know that the heart is resilient and adaptable. The heart knows when to speed up, it knows when to slow down. It is great at compensating for other failing systems, and we've been able to see this through some of the characteristics along our journey. I still recall the first day of class 3 years ago, as we embarked onto Hofstra University. We arrived with little information, but we were ambitious, eager, and willing to take on what was going to be presented to us. We knew the pedagogy was going to be different, and we knew that the school was going to be non-traditional. The school was the talk of the health system. Innovative, transformational, trend-setting. I remember when people congratulated us for being part of this amazing first class, people questioned us. How are you going to get content if you're not going to be lectured? How are you going to be successful if your professor facilitates rather than teaches? As we introduced each other, we began to see how special our class was. Each student's experience and resume profile was unique and powerful. It was an intimidating but a humble day. Dean Gallo stood in front of us with her on-point fashion style and stated that we were special. The trailblazers, she called us. We were going to change the face of healthcare. This set us up to be resilient and adaptable. This program taught us a lot more than just that of being a nurse practitioner. Let's be honest, as a first class of a program, the struggle was real. Days and days of pearls where we were asked to make our own learning objectives. We were asked to argue over words such as appraise or describe. We learned the value of being timely because those arguments could last for a while, and it was important for us not to belabor the point. When all was said and done, after we pulled our hair out and we hung our head in exhaustion, we looked at our professors for guidance. We were hungry for approval. We wanted to know we were doing the right thing. Instead, we got the classic Pearls answer of, tell me what you think. Do you think it's deep enough? Do you feel that that word choice will lead you to higher order thinking? Here we were, students who were masters in our own specialties, coming to a school expecting that we were going to be taught and brought to a state of academic euphoria. We were sitting in rooms with professors with years of clinical experience and expertise, true content matter experts. Yet when we asked for answers, we got nothing. I still recall discussing hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with my Pearls group. We discussed strategies to care for heart failure with my facilitator, who had years of experience as an electrophysiology nurse practitioner. Yet she didn't say one word. As nurses, we innately assess. You know what I'm talking about. You know, when you're at the supermarket, at the cold cut counter, and you see the guy who's ordering the ham, and he's speaking 2 or 3 word sentences, and you think to yourself, New York State Heart Association stage 4 heart failure. Those assessment skills didn't leave us in Pearls. We were constantly assessing our instructors. We were looking at them, and as we spoke, we assessed our professors' faces for visual cues of acceptance or approval. Yet each one of them kept a poker face, leading to further frustration. To add to this frustration, Dr. Alkowitz, a well-known pathologist and medical school faculty, sat in on our Pearl sessions. We couldn't help but wonder if it was just for intimidation factor only. Because all of a sudden, all the late night studying and preparing and understanding the pathogenesis of whatever disease process we were talking about dissipated from our brains as soon as he sat down. And when the going got tough, Dr. Alkowitz imparted his wisdom. Frustration is a necessary part of growth. If you're not frustrated, you're not doing your job. And in the end, it's just an unintended consequence of Pearls. In retrospect, the beauty is that at the end of the day, that made us stronger practitioners and taught us lessons in resilience and adaptability. What we did not know was that the amount of teaching that was truly happening. The frustration of not knowing if we were right or wrong taught us that in medicine, it's not always black and white. Our patients don't fit into molds or stereotypes. It's not cookie cutter care. Each case will be different. We learned that learning isn't just about reading books and going to class. Instead, it's much more than that. It's not just about being a learner, but the type of learner you are, and we explored this from day one. It's about self-actualization and knowing your abilities, both strengths and weaknesses, to provide the best care for your patients. As healthcare practitioners, we're not going to know it all. Don't get me wrong, we'll know a lot, thanks to UpToDate, the Khan Academy, and Board Vitals. But we won't need to know it all, and that's what's most humbling for me, is that that's okay. In fact, it's human. Our professors facilitated that learning and taught us that the answers aren't always going to be spoon-fed to us. Just like in true clinical form, a patient wasn't going to come into us and say, I am in diabetic ketoacidosis and I have heart failure. Our preceptors aren't going to hold our hands as we calculate the patient's anion gap or perform the patient's echocardiogram. Instead, as nurse practitioners, we are going to struggle. We're going to struggle. We're going to have to search for those answers for our patients. And once we get deep, just like in our Pearl sessions, we're going to have to dig deeper because that's the right thing to do. We never gave up on Pearls, just as we'll never give up on our patients. We also know that the heart is a powerful and inspirational organ, but it relies on being part of a team. The heart pumps blood from life to death. It pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood per day, but it can't do it alone. It requires all the chambers to work cohesively together along with baroreceptors, hormones, and other mediators. And if one falls out of the line, the pump can fail. As a class, we learned to lean on one another. From text message groups, study groups, to assignment lists, to simple gestures, we completed a minimum of 840 clinical hours within our program. But what is remarkable is the power that it took for us to do this. Unlike traditional students, we juggled the balance of working full-time jobs, managing families, and everyday activities. The road to our future won't be easy. We will have to meet new standards and face challenges. We will meet those who will have a certain preconceived notion of what a nurse practitioner is, and we'll also meet those who may not know what a nurse practitioner is. Each nurse practitioner in this class has something special about them. We will set the bar. We'll all bring something new to this journey. Remember this, let it guide your hearts in what you do, because that is going to be impactful. That is what's going to make a difference in your patients' lives. Each one of you holds such great power. from joining amazing teams who will be bringing life into this world, to those teams who will allow people to leave this world with dignity, peace, and respect, to those who will be giving patients a second chance in life. What's most inspirational is that some of us will be building these roads, while others will be learning to run along them. Like the heart, each one of us is powerful and inspirational and ready for this journey, and we can't do it alone. I'd like to conclude by thanking Dean Kathy Gallo, as well as all of Northwell Health, our professors, facilitators, the faculty and staff at the Center of Learning and Innovation, and all those who have lended a hand in our journey. Your expertise, your wisdom, and your support and guidance cannot and will not be forgotten. An enormous congratulations to you all as well, because program development, implementation, and challenging the norms of education is not easy. Our commencement is a reflection of your hard work as well, and we hope that we represent you well and make you proud. Remember though, we promised to delete those video recordings of the simulation and clinical encounters. Hashtag Jello. To the class of 2018, thank you and congratulations for this honor. I could not be prouder to be part of this inaugural class, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I do, however, have one last board vitals question that I think we should review together. All right. Which of the following strategies will help a nurse practitioner develop critical thinking skills? All right. Ignoring personal assumptions, utilizing only verifiable facts, rejecting ambiguity, controlling anxiety about being wrong. And so my last lesson of the day is always control the anxiety about being wrong. Each of you inspire me to be ever better, so much so that some of us were crazy enough to talk about furthering our education today, but the sky's the limit. I look forward to your texts and calls and consulting each and every one of you. Last but not least, I want to thank our supporters, the ones who had to deal with our complaints over the last 3 years. To our families, thank you for understanding that the laundry just wasn't going to be done and that the sink was just not going to be cleared because we had to be at clinical. Thank you for raising us and teaching us the lessons that helped us to survive this program. To our significant others, thank you for loving us and believing in us, and thank you for being our personal patients, even when some days we didn't believe in ourselves. To our colleagues, thank you for picking up that extra shift, teaching that extra class, and giving us a sympathetic look when we look drained. And to our friends, thank you for lending an ear, buying us those drinks, and dancing with us like nobody cared after a bad day. We're forever indebted to each and every one of you. The congratulations on this accomplishment isn't just about our inaugural class. It's about the amazing accomplishments of every individual in this room. Because without each and every one of you, we wouldn't be resilient, we wouldn't be adaptable, powerful, and inspirational. Thank you.
So we will now be presenting some very well-deserved awards to both our students and faculty. So Dr. Renee McLeod, if you would please come up and present the Nurse Practitioner Student Achievement Award.
Thank you, Dean Gallo. It is my honor to be here with the inaugural class and to also award the Nurse Practitioner Student Achievement Award to Nurse Practitioner Laura Restrepo.
Congratulations, Laura. So now the graduating class was asked to vote for a faculty member, now family, who demonstrated excellence in embodying the Pearls philosophy in both their teaching and learning practices. So Andrew, if you would just come up and present this award.
So the Pearls faculty truly embodies the spirit of this program. They've supported us along from day one, pushing us to drive our work. This faculty member truly embodies the pedagogy and is a true role model of resilience, adaptability, powerfulness, and inspiration. From him spending countless hours with us and then running to his other jobs as one of the system's most well-known emergency medicine physicians, I'm proud to present the Pearls Faculty Award to Dr. Michael Casara.
In the true spirit of being interprofessional. Congratulations, Mike. It's great. So now I am honored to present the Dean's Award. And I'm the only one who knows who it is. Because I've told nobody. And it's the only decision I can make by myself. So I am proud to present this award to Nara Zapata. So the students have got together and put together a little slideshow that will give you a little peek into their experiences over the last 3 years.
I will promise to face challenges and obstacles in the ever-changing world of nursing with courage, strength, compassion, and excellence.
I vow to always remember that above all, that on the other side of my important work is a human, someone who loves and is loved by others. application, and education, linking scientific discovery and cutting-edge research with the provision of high-quality, evidence-based, patient-centered care to advance global health.
I will work to enhance the advanced practice nurses as well as communities of practice collaborative efforts to partner with the populations we serve as well as our interprofessional colleagues to provide safe care.
I will continue the path of innovative and evolving educational approach to the development of advanced practice nurses, as well as communities of practice, to be able to respond to the ever-changing needs of the broad spectrum of consumers in a dynamic healthcare environment.
I will remain committed to excellence and to developing advanced practice nurses, as well as committees to practice who challenge existing norms to achieve exemplary, value-based healthcare outcomes while increasing access to care.
I will function in a variety of settings as well as communities of practice to impact global health.
I will deliver care that is respectful of and responsive to the preferences, needs, and values of the healthcare consumer through effective communication and consumer participation.
I will be committed to lifelong learning, academic and clinical development, and personal and professional growth.
I will promote ethical, moral, and mental fortitude that enables our advanced practice nurses, as well as communities of practice, to advocate in support of the healthcare consumers' values, beliefs, and preferences.
And support diversity in the learning community that prepares advanced practice nurses as well as communities of practice and provide care that embraces the commonalities and differences of our healthcare consumers.
And that was just like the past 3 years. Now I'll ask Dr. Samuel to come up and present the class for 2018. Holly Mazzetti. Maria Zaluthis. Christina Georges. Amanda Calandra. Laura Restrepo. Lisa Riley. Ellen Buck. Timothy Aldridge. Laura Gonzalez. Kareem Nagdella. Kendra Weisberger. Michelle Witkowski. Amy Smith. Tova Miller. Amy Ferrara. Paula Tortorici, chef. Lee Castro. Janine Thompson. Nara Zapato. Jennifer Seide. Tara Hertz. Alicia Matondo. Jacqueline Wentz. Kellyanne Ambrosio. Kirsten Bland. Andrew Yu. Christian Velez. Andrew Wong. I have to say, during the planning phase of this school, I never thought about the babies. Never entered our mind. So we have 3, we have 2 on the way. And if we add up all the babies with all our 3 cohorts, we've had 18 babies since we've opened the school. So you have time. You have no time. I'd like now to ask Dr. Marianne Dula to come up, and she would lead the class of 2018 in the oath.
If you'd all stand up, please. After hearing and seeing the slideshow, I'm sure you know this by heart, but it's in your program. Okay. I promise to face challenges and obstacles in the ever-changing world of nursing with courage, strength, compassion, and excellence. I vow to always remember above all that I am someone who is loved by others. I will remain humble, remembering my strengths, but knowing the strengths of others. To work collaboratively with all disciplines to provide the best aid to my patients. I vow to accept the lifelong challenge to continuously elevate my professional knowledge and competence to better serve my patients and the world. I commit to proudly and dignity, foster, and care by harmoniously fusing the innovations of evidence-based clinical tools with the time-valued art of healing. I vow to embrace the duties of leadership, the value of scholarship, the success of collaboration, and the celebration of humanism as I serve and empower the diverse group of healthcare consumers while judiciously utilizing healthcare resources. I will inspire leadership and have the courage to lead and positively influence the future state of healthcare. I will foster scholarship in the culture of excellence, where I will support engagement in discovery, integration, application, and education, linking scientific discovery and cutting-edge research with the provision of high-quality, evidence-based, patient-centered care to advance global health. I will work to enhance the collaborative efforts of advanced practice nurses, as well as communities of practice, to partner with the populations we serve, as well as our interprofessional colleagues, to provide safe patient care. We will continue the path of innovative and evolving educational approaches in the development of advanced practice nurses, as well as communities of practice to respond to the ever-changing needs of a broad spectrum of consumers in a dynamic healthcare environment. And in developing advanced practice nurses, as well as communities of practice who challenge existing norms to achieve exemplary value-based healthcare outcomes while increasing access to care. I will function in a variety of settings, as well as communities of practice to impact global health. I will deliver care that is respectful of and responsive to the preferences, needs, and values of the healthcare consumer through effective communication and consumer participation. I am committed to lifelong learning, academic and clinical development, and personal and professional growth. I will promote the ethical, moral, mental fortitude that enables our advanced practice nurses, as well as the communities of practice, to advocate in support of the values, beliefs, and preferences of all healthcare consumers. I will promote, support diversity in the learning community that prepares advanced practice nurses to provide care that embraces the commonalities and differences of our healthcare consumers. Well done. And actually, this is the class that created that oath for their white coat ceremony, and it will be everlasting, and they're probably sorry they made it so long, but there's a lesson to be learned there. So as we get toward the closing of our convocation, I just wanted to say that this has been a wonderful and exciting day for all of us. Our inaugural class of nurse practitioners will graduate this Sunday. This is an extraordinary accomplishment. As you have heard, they are pioneers blazing a path for others. I want to take a couple of minutes just to share with you some of my observations and thoughts about this class of 2018. This is an extraordinary group of registered nurses who had the courage to enroll in a new, innovative graduate nursing program. On day one, orientation right here in the School of Medicine, rooms 101 and 102, I spoke to them to let them know that there will be days when they say to themselves, why am I doing this? I could be having a life. I work full-time, I have family, I have other responsibilities, and I could certainly go to an easier program. Additionally, I also shared with them that there is only one inaugural class. And with that comes an awesome responsibility. Everyone, particularly other schools, will be watching us during your 3 years as a student and as you graduate. They, our students, will be the exemplar of the mission, vision, and values of the school. That we, the program, the faculty, the innovative curriculum will be judged
by your performance, both clinically and professionally. This cohort of registered nurses accepted that challenge. They had their moments of, why am I doing this? Or most of the time, why are you doing this? But they never wavered. They demonstrated strength and resilience during the tough times when they did not have enough time in the day to accomplish everything that they were responsible for. They also became collaborators with the faculty to improve the curriculum with feedback. And trust me, they gave us feedback. This is not a shy group. In fact, during our accreditation site visit last October, when the team leader was giving her exit summary report, she said, when I asked your students, do you provide feedback to the faculty on the program? She said, students said, when don't we provide feedback to the faculty on the program? So this was not an easy program, not only because it is learner-centric and the students need to be totally engaged in their learning to succeed, but also because it's new and innovative. And part and parcel of being new and innovative means that there are changes all along the way. So I want to personally thank the inaugural class for providing an effective feedback loop, as it has made a tremendous difference in the program as we continue our path to excellence. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, in a speech given at Rice University in 1962, noted the following: "We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win." And ladies and gentlemen, those words reflect both the spirit and actions of this inaugural class. They are innovators and trailblazers because they chose this program not because it was easy, but because it was hard. They accepted the challenge, they were unwilling to give up, and they have succeeded. To the graduating class, continue to embody our values. Remain steadfastly collaborative, creative, innovative, lead and pursue excellence. You have exemplified humanism and have embraced the commonalities and differences among healthcare teams and consumers alike. Never forget that you are the one and only inaugural class of the Hofstra Northwell School of Graduate Nursing and Physician Assistant Studies, and you have an awesome responsibility. Thank you. Stand up, turn around, and say thank you to everybody that is not you. Get here. So now I would like to thank everybody for sharing this great moment with us. And if you could just let the students file out first, and then we invite you to have a champagne toast with us out in the lobby. Thank you.